He's the bold, brash impresario of modern combat sports. Dana White leads a movement that for many is a cultural phenomenon. A word of warning, given the violent nature of this sport, viewer discretion is advised.
If baseball is America's pastime and football is its obsession, then the Ultimate Fighting Championship might be its guilty pleasure. Just don't say that to Dana White.
The punches, the kicks, the slams.
Man, those kicks.
People don't understand how bad those leg kicks hurt.
As CEO and president of the UFC, no one on earth has done more to grow the sport than White, who took the league from obscurity to what will be its highest profile moment this summer, a UFC match on the south lawn of the White House.
Everyone's asking me for tickets. They're going to have the greatest champions in the world fighting that night.
Billed as a celebration of America's 250th on June 14th, it also happens to be the birthday of President Donald Trump.
That one's signed by all three of the Beastie Boys.
From the UFC's Las Vegas headquarters,
So this piece of art represents war.
Dana White inhabits and presides over an empire of testosterone.
That's a real saber-toothed tiger skull.
Whoa. But it wasn't always like this.
In a no-holds-barred combat.
In its early days, the UFC was so violent, with almost no rules, that it was effectively exiled to pay-per-view.
As a kid who was interested in UFC, the draw of it, at least for me and my friends, was like, oh, Keith Hackney is just wailing on Joe Son's private parts, and this is allowable.
Well, you're right. That is exactly what drew everybody to it. But then regulators went after him.
UFC was on the brink of bankruptcy when White and two of his high school buddies bought the league for $2 million.
UFC, locked and loaded.
And this is where something happened that no one at the time could have understood the impact of.
The spectacular Trump Taj Mahal.
When the UFC desperately needed someone to host its fights, then casino owner Donald Trump was game.
The most monumental night in the history of the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
Trump showed up for the first fight of the night and stayed till the last fight of the night. From then on out, anything that ever happened, he was always the first guy to reach out and say, congratulations, I knew you guys were gonna do it.
To hear White tell it, that business relationship turned into a friendship, which turned into White helping Trump get elected.
I'm in the tough guy business, and this man is the toughest, most resilient human being that I've ever met in my life.
White even urged Trump to appear on influential so-called manosphere podcasts leading up to the 2024 election.
You're not a Kamala person. You're a Khabib person, but you're not a Kamala person.
I felt like all the people that are on Fox are voting for him anyway, right? Donald Trump is a guy's guy, and I knew that the younger generation could relate to Donald Trump.
Dana White, he's a tough guy.
Some even think these appearances helped swing the election for Trump.
Nobody's done a better job in sports.
The job White did was making UFC mainstream.
Do you want to be a fighter?
That started with more rules and safety measures.
I will tell you, the sound of bodies hitting bodies from this close up is not something I think I've heard before in that way.
So true.
But when a guy just gets absolutely knocked out cold and you see his head hit the mat, what goes through your mind as the president of this whole thing?
Yeah, health and safety is very important to us. I mean, we have a perfect 30-year record.
In 2016, UFC sold for $4 billion. And this past August, CBS's owner, Paramount Skydance, agreed to pay nearly $8 billion to stream UFC on Paramount Plus, as well as on broadcast television. The first CBS fight airs next Saturday night.
Tell me about this.
Yeah, so this is the war room. This is where we have all our matchmaking meetings.
But 2 months before that deal, we were with Dana White for a busy few days leading up to a weekend UFC title fight.
It's not good when you're late to your own press conference.
First came some Thursday promotion.
I'm the best fighter in the world. I'm going to knock him out in the first round.
Then Friday afternoon weigh-ins. The headliners can make millions, but fighter pay remains a contentious topic. In 2024, UFC settled a class action lawsuit alleging underpayment. By Friday night, it was time for White's other combat franchise, the newly formed Power Slap, which is exactly what it sounds like.
You have to be able to slap hard, and you have to have a good chin to be good in this. I saw the opportunity, just like the UFC, and I said, I get this, and I think I can actually make this big.
The night wasn't over yet. This is Vegas, after all. So we followed White to the high-stakes Baccarat room.
I'll take $1 million.
Buying in for $1 million.
Let's gamble. Go on.
And on this night, things went well for Dana White.
So does winning $1.2 million in 15 minutes put you in a good mood for tomorrow?
It definitely doesn't suck.
The gambling, the parties, the combative rhetoric.
How come it's always like a war zone when we?
It's a larger-than-life image, but a controversial one. Notably in 2023, when an altercation with his wife at a nightclub in Mexico was caught on camera.
What happened that night as far as you can assess?
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame alcohol. It didn't jump down my throat, you know. It was one of those things that never should have happened, that did on the world stage. You know, just something that we had to deal with as a family, and we did, and we moved on.
I think for a lot of folks, the natural question that comes to mind is like, well, is that who the guy really is?
100%. 100%. When you go through something like that, you wake up the next day and you got to look in the mirror and say, how did that happen? And how do we make sure that never happens again?
UFC fans seem unfazed.
I love seeing dudes get knocked out. It's my favorite thing in the world.
When we visited, they were lining up in the Las Vegas summer sun for UFC X, a chance to marinate in all things ultimate fighting. Finally, it was Saturday night and time for the main event.
Is that a Superman punch?
Yes, exactly.
Look at you.
Huh?
The title fight was a brief and bloody affair that left the crowd buzzing. Dana White crowned a new champ, but his mind was already on his upcoming vacation.
After the fight, flying to my place, I got a place up in Maine.
With one stop planned on the calendar, dinner at the White House with his old pal, the president.
Particularly as it pertains to pro sports leagues, I would think, the idea would be try not to be overtly political, because then you might lose half of your fan base, or try to really kind of stay down the middle.
How about you be authentic and just be yourself? How about that? Just be authentic. You don't have to agree with me, and you don't have to like it, and I don't have to agree with you, but we can all still just get along. I mean, that's how this is supposed to work.